So Mary, the Queen of England, or you might know her as Bloody Mary, came into power after Edward VI died. And Edward VI, much like his father, Henry VIII, enjoyed having the Church of England being the church of the state because he was able to be the head of the church. While Mary, on the other hand, did not like that because the Church of England caused so much trouble for her and her mother. Now, she decided to reinstate Catholicism as the religion of the state. And she also reenacted a law that those who did not follow the religion of the state were to be executed. This then caused over 300 men, women, and children to be burned at the stake.
In England, religion and state weren't separated, and because of that, many people suffered and died. In America, we want to continue with the society we have, one with fair human rights. The reason we have this is because of the separation between religion and state. Throughout history, though, we have seen many great societies fall because they lost their focus and the reason that made them so great. Though America has many areas in which it needs to improve, we are truly great in the equality we have in our society. John Dewey, an education theorist, said, "The self is not something ready-made, but something in continuous formation through choice of action. America must choose to keep safeguarded the free exercise of religion. And when we are elected, we promise to keep that focus in the minds of the American people. One way we will do this is by creating a fair education system. After the war we just had with Canada, we all want an education system that can train our children to grow up to be diplomats and statesmen, so as to not get into that trouble again. And we promise to provide that. We want an education system that doesn't hold bias to a certain religion or to atheism. A school where there can be mutual understanding between children, youth, and adults. As we create understanding between the rising generation, we are setting up unity in the future America."
And as everyone will be learning how to treat others in diplomatic ways, they will be able to wield the power in responsible ways. In this democratic nation, we've already started on the path to renewal by securing more of the human rights than ever before. With the combined effort of the rights for the people and the education that they will be receiving, will prepare them for the plan to fix this 4-year recession. The reason that it requires the people having their rights is so that the democracy will actually be formed. And we need a democracy for this to work, like we need air to breathe. With this plan, the democracy of people will run the enterprises so that the economic decisions will be made by those it most affects. With economy, that goes through boom-bust cycles. We are currently, as you can tell, in a bust part of the cycle. It was said by John Maynard Keynes that the worst parts of the cycle can be reduced. This path that we will be taking America on together will be able to reduce the problems of this cycle to minuscule proportions.
We don't have to be divided like England was. America can come together to create a peaceful and happy society for everyone. Though we aren't quite there yet, we have progressed remarkably since when America was founded, and we can continue to progress. If you give us the chance to continue staying in power in America, we will make sure America comes together to learn from the mistakes of the past and continues to progress towards unity and equality for all mankind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Higgins and Mr. Riches. Our next candidates are from our Red, White, and Blue Party. We have Senator Isabel Tingey, who has a BA in psychology and an MS in civil engineering. She is married and has 2 children. Her husband is an entrepreneur, and she has been the director for the Water Board of Los Angeles and is a state senator, has been a state senator and is currently a United States Senator of the state of California. Her running mate is Mr. Jacob McCrary, who is also married and has 2 children. He is a Vietnam War veteran. He graduated from the Naval Academy and is currently the governor of California. Please welcome Ms. Tingy and Mr. McCrary to the stand.
In Florida, in 2013, a man was laying in his bed when all of a sudden the floor opened up underneath him and he was sucked into a sinkhole. He died, and I don't know if they ever found his body. Sinkholes are formed when water under the ground erodes a cave under the surface, and it's just waiting for the right amount of pressure to push on it, and then everything comes down into it. We see sinkholes in our nation today. A lack of virtue and ignorance about our history are making us, they're eroding at our Constitution, and they're eroding at our foundation. Our Constitution will only work with a virtuous and educated people, and we need to return to God so that we can have our nation be strong. Today we are going to tell you what we are going to do to stop this erosion.
The first sinkhole that we see is that we are straying from God. It is more evident if you compare religious attendance today to 100 years ago. And less Americans are attending church, especially after the war, and we feel that the best way to rebuild our nation is to promote church attendance. And so we are going to encourage all Americans to attend no matter what denomination. And we are also going to make sure that all religions remain tax exempt. And the second sinkhole that we see is that the majority of America is not studying the Constitution. We are not learning what is in the Constitution or what the Founding Fathers believed. And we are going to change this. We are going to make it so that schools will teach about the Founding Fathers. But ideally, we believe that schools should be taught by the parents, and we greatly support homeschooling. And if you vote for us, we will make sure that everybody that is homeschooled will be subsidized.
Another sinkhole in our country is the unemployment levels. There are many who don't have jobs and need to support their families, and we are going to provide a change for this. We're going to provide adult education so that those who need skills for certain jobs can learn them and build up their resume so that they can support their families, and we will have a better nation. So the main thing that we need to focus on with our country is to be virtuous again. The political party that is now in power has had their chance to make us a virtuous country again, but they have failed, and that's why we believe that we should be elected. If we keep the commandments, God will let us live in this promised land, and there are no sinkholes on the pathway to heaven. If you vote for us, you will be voting for a return to the virtues that made America great in the first place. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Tingy and Mr. McCrary. Okay, our next candidates are also from the Red, White, and Blue Party. Mr. Brian Jones, he is the foreman of a coal mine. He's married with 4 children, has been very involved in the technology industry. He's a U.S. Senator from Tennessee. He has been very involved with trade unions, especially those of steel workers, plumbers, and electricians. Ms. Hadley, Abrielle Hadley, is the heir to a U.S. steel company. She has a BA in liberal arts from William & Mary and also graduated from Yale University. She is currently serving as the mayor of Washington, D.C., where she successfully reduced the crime rate during her tenure. Please welcome Mr. Brian Jones and Ms. Abrielle Hadley to the stand.
We the people. We often hear these words, but do we understand the meaning? I advocate that the meaning of these words is the people. All people, everywhere, are equal. All people have an equal opportunity for education and employment. But are all people in America equal? No, they are not. The government has become too powerful, and it is time to put the power back into the hands of the people. But how can we do this when so many in our nation are poor and uneducated? America has dropped out of the top 10 in educational achievement in the world, and our poverty levels have risen and will continue to rise. because the poor are unemployed, their children they don't have the means to educate their children. And because their children are uneducated, they lose opportunities for jobs as they get older. And so the cycle continues. This cycle must be stopped. The poor of our nation must be educated. Aren't all people equal? And if so, shouldn't all people have an equal opportunity for education, no matter their life circumstances? Few of these people have the ability to, or the means to make it through college. This must change, and it will. If voted in, we will make college available to everyone, not just those who can afford it. The poor must be educated too. We as Americans also have a duty to protect the poor, the downtrodden. If this means war with North Korea, so be it. Our diplomatic actions and soft words have not helped in that country. They have only hurt the poor and strengthened those who are oppressing them. Edmund Burke, a British statesman, once said, when bad men combine, the good must associate, else they will fall, one by one, an unpitied sacrifice in a contemptible struggle. The bad men of North Korea have combined, and it is our duty as the good people of America to associate. The time for diplomacy has ended. The time to act is now.
The time to act is now. For America to prosper, it must have a government of action. But for the past 20 years, it hasn't. Why? Because the Patriot Party has been in power, creating the worst 20 years in American history. They have talked every honest American's ear off and made hundreds of promises they have conveniently forgotten within the month. Not only has the Patriot Party brought down the working class of America, they have also done everything they can to stay in power. The lies, blackmail, and deceit that is filtered to the eyes and ears of the general public is appalling. The recent war with Canada was to cover their secret dealings with Canadian officials and things no honest American would ever have anything to do with. The Patriot Party has shown us that North Korea is not the only place that bad is associating, but have hope. We, as members of the Red, White, and Blue Party, will give the power back to the people. We'll give them the freedom they need. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, our next candidates come from the Patriot Party. Miss Savannah Short is married to a media mogul who owns many television stations and newspapers. She has 2 children. She has a BA in Women's Studies from Stanford University and an MA in Literature from UC Berkeley. Her thesis was on cultural diversity in American literature. She is currently serving as Secretary of State to the current U.S. President. Her running mate is Jacob Toon. He is divorced with 3 grown children. He is an actor in many, many popular films that I'm sure you've all seen. And he's a prominent political activist. He has protested against the war with Canada and is an extremely popular blogger on YouTube. He has been the president of the Actors Guild, the board of directors at Paramount Pictures, and he is currently serving as the United States ambassador to Nigeria. Miss Short and Mr. Toon, welcome them to the stand.
Lately, we have been through a serious war with Canada and many economic disasters. These have all come upon us because we are ununited. If we will be united, we can improve America and achieve our full potential by working together.
And by working together, we can unite traditional and alternative healthcare. During and after the war with Canada, we used traditional healthcare. While this form of healing is effective, alternative healthcare can speed up the process of the healing. Traditional healthcare is being used more prominently today than alternative healthcare. We need to unite everything after this terrible war, and that includes healthcare. When we are voted in to office, we want to make sure that alternative health is being used as much as traditional health, so that both traditional and alternative health are both recommended and used. Companies like Good Earth and Advanced Health Clinic will be used just as much as hospitals. We will use hospitals to do the surgical procedures and herbs to speed up the healing process. If we are voted in to office, we will make sure that we unite these two wonderful healthcare options.
Lately, taxes have been at an all-time high because of the war with Canada. These taxes were caused because we needed to support the military and the production of their equipment. But now that the war is over, I will be able to dissolve these taxes as soon as possible. Dissolving these taxes will let businesses retain money and grow and provide more employment for the poor. Poverty is rapidly increasing, and this is a very serious problem. Because of this, the government has stepped in and provided financial support to the poor. This is a very good thing to do, but it can become a serious problem because it discourages self-reliance and encourages government reliance. Rather than destroying self-reliance, rather than destroying government reliance, I will encourage self-reliance by financially providing for the poor, while at the same time teaching them to manage their money, resources, and eventually develop stable income. Another problem we are facing is high sales tax. Sales tax is very dangerous because it drives up the costs of goods and services and decreases the amount that a business can sell. When businesses increase their price, money loses its value, which is harmful to everybody, especially the poor. Because of this, I will decrease sales tax as much as possible. This will give value back to your money. These improvements will help the economy dramatically, but will not fully eliminate poverty. Through self-government, we can fully eliminate poverty by becoming selfless, and eliminating the plague of greed.
Our environment is being abused today. This is another problem we are facing. America is the second most polluted country in the world. We need to come together. We need to unite. Through self-government and coming together, we can decrease the pollution and improve our environment.
If you vote us into office, we will make sure that we manage our country's resources and energy. Recycling will also make our country far better, our air much cleaner, but we have to do this together.
All of these improvements can't be made without you. The war with Canada has left us apart, and we want to reunite our country. We don't want another war. When we are voted into office, we will make sure these things happen. We need to unite America after this tragic war. The improvements we want to make with healthcare, taxes, and the environment will benefit our country greatly. Our main purpose after this terrible war is to reunite the country together. Alone we are weak, but together we are strong. Thank you.
Okay, our next candidates are from the Red, White, and Blue Party. They are Representative Dallin Johnson, Representative Jacob Jenkins. Mr. Johnson is a former astronaut and spent time on the International Space Station. He has a PhD in astrophysics from Harvard. He has a BA in Middle Eastern Studies and Ancient Linguistics. He is married and has 8 children, 4 of whom are still at home and 4 who are grown. He is currently serving as a U.S. Representative of Florida and previously served as the mayor of Miami. Mr. Jenkins started as a compliance officer in the state of Indiana and was promoted to the anti-terrorism division. He has a BS in criminal justice from Concordia University of Wisconsin and a master's degree in business management from Wesleyan. He is divorced and has 1 daughter. He previously served on the City Council of Indianapolis and is currently serving as the U.S. representative from Indiana. If you'll please welcome Mr. Johnson and Mr. Jenkins to our stage.
I'd like you all to close your eyes and imagine a world where there is no conflict, a world where we all want the same things out of life, a world where there is no need to be afraid, This is a world we are striving to create. How will we do this? By bringing God back.
In our current day, the United States education system has been polluted with false beliefs and false doctrines that pull people away from God and His truth. For instance, in Common Core, the beliefs and hypotheses of the Big Bang Theory and evolution of man have been taught, which we know without a doubt that this is not how we came to be.
We need to change up our education so that we are not teaching these false hypotheses of man. We need to make sure that we are teaching our true origins and how we were created. We need to teach how God wants us to teach. Lately, there's been a concern with war with Korea after our big war with Canada. And this is a big threat, and we need to make sure that we are taking care of this threat by being prepared.
We need to be ready and on guard constantly, because we know not the day nor the hour that our Lord God will come and command us in war. It is for that reason that we need to be on guard constantly. In our nation today, immigration has been a problem. It's been harder and harder for people of other countries to come and partake of our greatness and our prosperity. And part of that is because we have a government that has been putting up restrictions and walls, not just metaphorically, but also physically.
We need to make it easier for immigrants to enter America. The more people we can bring into America, that will be able to lower our tax rate because we can spread it throughout the country. We don't need to build walls of restrictions. We need to build gates of acceptance.
With what has been said by the Patriots and also what they've presented, we can see that there has been no good that has been the outcome of what they have been doing. We have had a war with Canada and a potential threat of North Korea. Now, do we want this sorrow? Do we want the sorrow of what they are presenting? Do we want to go back to that? Because so far, over the 20 years, nothing has changed. We need to teach what God wants us to teach. And when we fight, we need to fight for God. Instead of building walls of restrictions, we need to build gates of acceptance. We need to bring our country back from its original state. We need to bring back God. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Jenkins. Our next candidates are from the Patriot Party. They are Ms. Amber Engstrom, who attended MIT and has been an extraordinarily successful entrepreneur. She had founded an international foundation. She is married and has 2 adopted children. She has not served any political positions, but she is her major contributor to her own campaign. She is, because of her distrust of regular systems, they have chosen to run with a triumvirate, or 3 people to divide the power of the presidency between. She is also running with Ms. Maddie Stoddard, who graduated from Harvard Law School and received a BA in Humanities from Columbia. She has never married, but she has 2 children that she is raising from previous relationships. She is currently serving as North Carolina State Attorney General and has been the District Attorney in Raleigh, North Carolina. They're also running with Dr. Daniel Watts, who has a PhD in social and political science from Columbia University and is serving as a professor emeritus. He's a distinguished author of several books on social theory, most prominently known his book, Reason and Desire. He is married and has 2 adult grandchildren. So please welcome Ms. Engstrom, Ms. Stoddard, and Mr. Watts to the stand.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men and women, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
Organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
In the past 20 years, we, the Patriot Party, have sacrificed our time and effort to make America a better place. We have started in the state of awful and terrifying sexism and racism. Little children were bullied at school, women couldn't get jobs, and we have worked our way up, fighting every step of the way, until at last we have reached what every country has ever strived to achieve: social equality. We no longer struggle with the problems of racism and sexism. Those are things of the past. We, as a country, have moved on, become better. But are we good enough? Is social equality good enough for us? No, we want more. We, as a country, are in the rebuilding process. We are trying to recover from our recent war with Canada. We have fallen from the top 10 in educational achievements, scientific development. Are we okay with that? Are we okay with letting China lead the world? No, we have been the longest leading superpower in the world, and we will be again. We have already overcome so much. We can overcome so much more together. We will be stronger as one. But how do we do this? Where do we start? We start with fixing our education system.
We want education to be more accessible. We want kids to be excited to learn. We want education to be done your way. We propose to have more online school options where you will be able to choose what you learn. The classes can be self-guided, or you can attend a live class with a teacher. You can look. If you like learning straight out of the book, you can do that. If you like watching a video about what you are learning, you can do that. Or if you like attending a live class where you can discuss with others what you are learning, you can do that. We can do it all together as one. We need to get rid of Common Core. Everyone learns differently, so why should we all learn the exact same thing? If we are all different, then we should be learning different things. We want to build up our country with well-educated people, and the way to do that is to encourage them to have a love of learning. We don't want to discourage kids from their natural sense of curiosity. If they are excited to learn, they are more likely to go to college and further their education. Having a better education will enable them to have a better job, which will better enable them to provide for their needs. Right now, our country is in poverty. If we are able to have a better education, we will be able to have better jobs to stimulate our economy.
Sorry. Our economy isn't doing so well, and that's the truth. Our plan to fix this is titivation. To spur our economy into an upward spiral, all businesses need the security net that our plan will provide. Just what is titivation? It is a slight adjustment into the direction in which we are now heading. This is a system in which our government influences aspects of a free market for the better of all the people. We will take our depressed economy and give it the financial backing to protect us from all evil. We need to have the peace that comes from not having to worry about bankruptcy, never having to worry about losing your job because an employer is downsizing, never having to worry about your business being bought out. What is titivation? It is peace of mind. With all the turmoil and uncertainty in this world, this is what we need. It is the upward spiral that will lift and unite us all.
All of these things we have talked about sound great, but what is our real reason for doing this? Why are we lowering taxes and creating a better education system? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we sacrificing our time and money to make these changes? It's because we believe in something that no other group does. We believe that America isn't a lost cause. America is great, but we can make it better together. With our help, we can and will make America stronger as one. Thank you.
Okay, and our final candidates today are from the Red, White, and Blue Party. Ms. Mary Hampton is an attorney. She graduated from Stanford University, and she's spent a large part of her career serving as a humanitarian. She's the founder of an association of professional volunteers for the vision of America. She served in the Peace Corps in Africa between her undergrad and Juris Doctorate. She's a single mother with one grown adopted child from Africa. Political positions that she's held as mayor of San Francisco and the head of the Professional Volunteers for Vision of America. She's also the chairman for Mock Trials of California. Her running mate is Mr. Barrett Stoddart, a PhD graduate of MIT in computer science and the holder of 25 patents in AI design. He has a corporate career in the defense industry and is on the board of directors. He's a member of the board of directors of many defense companies. He is single and doesn't have any children. He's been a state senator for Georgia and has served on the board of supervisors for the greater Atlanta area. He's also been on the Marietta City County Council and on the City Planning Committee. Please welcome Ms. Hampton and Mr. Stoddart to the stage.
By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I bid you stand, men of this great nation, men of science. For years, we were at the top in education, scientific advancements, and having the lowest number of people living in poverty. But sadly, that has all changed. We recently dropped out of the top 10 in education. We are falling behind in our scientific advancements, but the saddest of all is that we are at a record high in the number of people living in poverty. How can we climb back up the ranks? But the better question is, how can we climb higher?
Going back to what we said about poverty, it is not only American citizens that are having a problem with this, but those who come here in the hopes of a better life. You may ask, then why are we not doing something? Why are we not helping? Well, we are. We are giving all the help that we can, but this is making it so that we are neglecting others in need. We will still help people that ask for help, but in return, we need them to help us build a better nation.
Now, another way we can help enhance this nation is through education. We hold education to be very important. Not only will education help better our everyday lives, but it'll help our nation grow in technological advancements, which in turn will help us rise back up those ranks.
We have just come out of a war with Canada. It is now over, but we have all been affected by it. We have all lost someone that we love, and it was never easy. Yes, the war is now over, but that does not mean it cannot happen again. A king once told his son, "A wise king never seeks out war, but he must always be ready for it." When we move forward with technology, we will create the Army of One. The Army of One is where we will equip one man to be able to go out and protect our homes and family. This will not only be keeping families together, but it will save many, many lives.
Now, if we want to stay as a first world country, we must be willing to do whatever it takes. If we want to be a guiding light for the rest of the world, we must do something that has never been done. We're running out of space on this planet. Therefore, we must expand our horizons.
Today, we have stated some of the problems that are going on in this country and how we can fix them. We, of America, have gone from the top to the bottom, and it is now time to rise up and get to the top. How are we going to do this? By increasing our technology and how we are using it. It's not going to be easy, but we can do hard things. This nation has done many things that others have said were impossible, and we did it anyways, because we're amazing. When we move forward with technology and education, we will not only be saving the lives of our loved ones, but we will be saving this entire nation. That is how we are going to move back up to the top. Thank you.
Okay, can you guys give them all one more round of applause? Okay, we need you to vote. You need to choose. Okay, you need to choose one team from each party. So you're going to vote for one team in each box, okay? But then you're going to circle your top choice. So like mark the check mark by the team from each party, and then you're going to circle your top choice. And then we need you to turn in you're going to pass myself, and we will